The message arrived during our first wedding anniversary dinner. One simple text that shattered everything I thought I knew about my marriage. I watched Ethan's face change as he read his phone under the dim lighting of Atlas, Atlanta's most exclusive restaurant, the same restaurant where he had proposed exactly 2 years ago. I have to go, he said, already standing up. Emergency board meeting. Now, it's 9 in the evening. I gripped my wine glass tighter, the stem threatening to snap between my fingers. On our anniversary? He wouldn't meet my eyes. The Singapore deal. You know how crucial this is for the company. Of course I knew. Turner Technologies had been chasing this merger for months, but tonight was supposed to be different. Special. You promised, Ethan. No work tonight. Kylie, please. His voice carried that edge of condescension he used when he thought I was being unreasonable. We'll celebrate properly next weekend. I'll take you anywhere you want. I watched him adjust his tie, noticed how his fingers trembled slightly. In 15 months of marriage, I'd never seen his hands shake. At least let me drive you, I offered, reaching for my purse. No need. Car's already waiting. He dropped a quick kiss on my forehead. Don't wait up. The maitre d' materialized with Ethan's coat, too quickly for it to have been a spontaneous departure. This had been planned. I sat alone at our table, staring at his half-finished Wagyu steak and the champagne he hadn't touched. The anniversary gift in my purse suddenly felt foolish, a handmade album chronicling our first year together. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. Your husband isn't at any board meeting. Ask him about Sophia Hayes. I read the message 3 times, each word burning deeper into my mind. Sophia Hayes. The name wasn't entirely unfamiliar. She was Ethan's new business partner, brought in 6 months ago to help with international expansion. Is everything all right, madam? The waiter hovered nearby, concern etched on his face. Yes, I gestured vaguely at the table. Could you pack this up? My hands were steady as I gathered my things, signed the check, accepted the carefully packaged leftovers. Outside, the valet brought my car around. I sat behind the wheel, not starting the engine. Another text arrived, this time with an attachment. The photo showed Ethan entering the St. Regis, Sophia Hayes' slim figure preceding him through the revolving doors. The timestamp read 9:17 p.m., 7 minutes ago. I zoomed in on his face. He was smiling. Not the practiced corporate smile he wore at business functions, but the real one, the one I thought belonged to me. My phone rang. Mia's name flashed on the screen. Hey, how's the anniversary dinner going? Her voice was bright, excited. It's not. I surprised myself with how calm I sounded. Ethan had an emergency board meeting. What? On your anniversary? That's bull. He's at the St. Regis. I cut her off. With Sophia Hayes. Silence stretched between us. Then, I'm coming over. Don't do anything stupid before I get there. I'm fine, I said, starting the car. Really, I just need to think. Kylie. Mia's voice turned sharp. Promise me you won't confront him tonight. Not until we figure this out. I watched another couple exit Atlas, laughing, wrapped up in each other. The woman wore red, like me. The man had his arm around her waist, protective, proud. I promise, I lied, pulling into traffic. I'm heading home now. I ended the call and typed the St. Regis into my GPS, 15 minutes away. Traffic was light. The second anonymous text arrived as I waited at a red light. There's more you need to know, much more. When you're ready to hear it, call this number. I saved the contact under truth and pressed harder on the accelerator. The city lights blurred around me as I drove toward the hotel where my husband was betraying everything we'd built together. Some anniversaries mark beginnings, others mark endings. Tonight would be both. The St. Regis lobby gleamed with old money and secrets. I sat in a leather armchair, watching the elevator numbers change, my hands perfectly still in my lap. 3 hours had passed since I'd arrived, and still no sign of Ethan or his emergency board meeting. My phone buzzed. Mia again. Where are you, really? She demanded. Exactly where I shouldn't be. I kept my voice low, watching a couple stumble past, giggling into each other's necks. But exactly where I need to be. Get out of there, now. You're just torturing yourself. The elevator dinged. My heart stopped, then started again when an elderly couple emerged. I can't leave. Not until... Until what? Until you see them together? What good will that do? Before I could answer, Rebecca Turner's voice cut through the lobby like a blade. Kylie, what an unexpected surprise. My mother-in-law stood before me in a midnight blue evening gown. Perfect makeup at midnight, not a silver hair out of place. Of course she'd be here. The Turners practically owned the hotel. I rose, smoothing my anniversary dress. Rebecca, I was just looking for Ethan. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. He mentioned the board meeting, such unfortunate timing. Did he mention where exactly this meeting was taking place? Rebecca's perfectly manicured hand touched my arm. Her grip was gentle but firm. Darling, let's have a drink. The bar here makes an excellent martini. Gotta go, I whispered into the phone, ending Mia's protests. The bar was nearly empty. Rebecca ordered 2 martinis without consulting me. You know, she said, stirring her olive, when Jonathan and I first married, I made similar mistakes. Mistakes? Showing up unannounced, questioning his work commitments. It's natural to feel insecure when marrying into a family like ours. The martini arrived. I left it untouched. I'm not insecure. I'm observant. Are you? Her voice hardened slightly. Then you must have observed how crucial this Singapore merger is, how much pressure Ethan is under. And Sophia Hayes? How crucial is she? Rebecca's pause was microscopic, but telling. She's an invaluable asset to the company. Her connections in Asian markets are unparalleled. Is that all she is? Careful, Kylie. Rebecca set her glass down with precise control. Accusations without evidence can be dangerous, especially in our circles. My phone buzzed again. Another message from the unknown number. Check the presidential suite, room 2401. You're right, I said, standing. I should go home. Thank you for the drink. Rebecca's relief was palpable. I'll have Thomas bring your car around. No need. I'd like to use the restroom first. She nodded, already reaching for her phone, probably to warn Ethan. I waited until she left, then headed for the service elevator I'd noticed earlier. The keycard I'd charmed from a sympathetic housekeeper burned in my clutch. Floor 24 was silent. The presidential suite door loomed at the end of the hall like a challenge. I raised my hand to knock, then stopped. What would I actually achieve? Catch them in the act? Create a scene? Become the hysterical wife Rebecca already thought I was? My phone buzzed one final time. Sometimes knowing is worse than suspecting. Are you sure you're ready? I stared at the message, remembering Ethan's trembling hands at dinner, Rebecca's calculated intervention, the weight of unspoken threats beneath her polite warnings. The elevator dinged. I turned to see Sophia Hayes step out, her black dress a second skin, her expression freezing when she saw me. Mrs. Turner, she said, recovering quickly. This is unexpected. Is it? I smiled, channeling Rebecca's perfect poise. I thought we should finally meet properly, since you're such an invaluable asset to the company. She matched my smile with equal insincerity. Perhaps we should discuss this tomorrow, in a more appropriate setting. Oh, I think this setting is perfect. I gestured to the suite door. Shall we see if my husband agrees? The mask slipped for just a second, showing something like respect. You're not what they said you'd be. No, I agreed, turning toward the elevator. I'm much worse. I left her standing there, my head high, my heart hammering. I had what I needed now. Confirmation, witnesses, and most importantly, the knowledge that I wasn't crazy. The game they'd been playing had rules I was just beginning to understand. But I was a quick learner, and I had nothing left to lose. The manila envelope landed on my desk with a soft thud. Inside were dozens of photos, surveillance shots from the past 3 months. Ethan and Sophia at various hotels, restaurants, intimate moments they thought were private. But the most damning image wasn't of their affair at all. Look at the last one, Liam said, leaning against my office wall. The private investigator's expression remained neutral, professional. The final photo showed Sophia in what looked like a private meeting room, shaking hands with Turner Technologies' biggest competitor. The timestamp was from yesterday. Corporate espionage, I said, my voice hollow. She's not just sleeping with my husband. She's selling company secrets. There's more. Liam handed me a USB drive. Financial records, wire transfers, your husband's signature on some very interesting documents. My phone buzzed. Ethan's face appeared on the screen. I let it ring. "He's been calling all morning," I said. "Probably figured out I hired you." "What's your next move?" Before I could answer, my office door burst open. Rebecca Turner stood there, perfectly coiffed as always, but her eyes blazed with fury. "How dare you hire a private investigator?" She strode in, ignoring Liam completely. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I spread the photos across my desk. Exactly what I needed to do, apparently. "These mean nothing." She swept them aside with one manicured hand. "You're seeing conspiracies where there's only business." "Business." I pulled out the competitor meeting photo. "Is this the kind of business Turner Technologies conducts now?" Something flickered in Rebecca's eyes. Fear, maybe. Or recognition. "You're in over your head, Kylie. Stop this now and we can pretend it never happened." "Like you're pretending Sophia isn't destroying your company from the inside out?" "You don't understand." "I understand perfectly." I stood up, matching her height in my heels. "The question is, does Jonathan know what his precious son and his new partner are doing to his legacy?" Rebecca's face went white. "Leave Jonathan out of this." "Why? Because he's sick? Because the stress might kill him?" I leaned forward. "Or because he'd actually do something about it?" The slap caught me off guard. The sting spread across my cheek as Rebecca stared at her own hand in horror. "Mrs. Turner." Liam stepped forward, his voice carrying a warning. "It's fine," I said, never breaking eye contact with my mother-in-law. Rebecca was just leaving. She gathered herself, straightening her designer jacket. "Think very carefully about your next move, Kylie. Some wars aren't worth fighting." After she left, Liam whistled low. "Well, that confirms it. They're scared." My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from Ethan. "We need to talk. Please, I can explain everything." Another message followed immediately. "Don't show those photos to anyone. You don't understand what's at stake." "What's your professional opinion?" I asked Liam, touching my stinging cheek. "Professionally? Take the evidence to the board. Let them handle it." He paused. "Personally? There's something bigger going on here. The way they're reacting. This goes deeper than an affair." My computer pinged. A new email from the anonymous source who'd first tipped me off about Sophia. "Ready for the real story? Meet me at the Botanical Gardens. 3 p.m., come alone." "Could be a trap," Liam said, reading over my shoulder. "Could be answers." I gathered the photos, securing them in my safe. "Sometimes you have to walk into the trap to spring it." "Want me to follow at a distance?" I shook my head. "No, but stay close to your phone. If I'm not out by 4 p.m., release everything we have to the board. And if they try to bury it, then release it to every media outlet in Atlanta." I grabbed my coat. "The Turners aren't the only ones who know how to play hardball." My phone buzzed one final time. "Sophia, you're making a mistake. Some secrets are kept secret for a reason." I deleted the message without responding. They were all so concerned about protecting their secrets, their legacy, their precious company. None of them had stopped to consider that maybe I had secrets of my own. Maybe it was time they learned what happened when you underestimated the woman they'd welcomed into their perfect family. After all, the best revenge isn't served cold. It's served exactly when they least expect it. The Botanical Gardens felt too peaceful for the conversation I was about to have. My anonymous source had chosen the orchid room, humid, private, filled with rare blooms that probably cost more than my car. I recognized Jonathan Turner immediately, sitting alone on a marble bench. My father-in-law looked smaller than I remembered, frailer. The company's official story was that he'd stepped down due to health issues. Seeing him now, I wondered if that hadn't been another carefully crafted lie. "You're the one who sent the photos," I said, remaining standing. He nodded, not looking at me. "Sophia Hayes isn't just destroying my company. She's destroying my son." "And you let her?" "Sit down, Kylie, please." His hands trembled slightly as he patted the space beside him. "There are things you need to understand." I sat, keeping distance between us. Through the glass walls, I could see Liam's car in the parking lot, despite my instructions. Some people just couldn't follow orders. "Turner Technologies is being investigated by the SEC," Jonathan said quietly. "Fraud, money laundering, things that could send people to prison." "Sophia's doing? If only it were that simple." He pulled out a folder, aged and worn. This goes back years. Before Sophia, before Ethan took over. My signature is on everything. The implications hit me like a physical blow. You're protecting him, letting Sophia take the fall. I'm dying, Kylie. Cancer. 6 months, maybe less. His voice remained steady, matter of fact. My last act will be taking responsibility for everything. The company will survive. Ethan will be clear of suspicion. And Sophia? Does she know she's your scapegoat? A slight smile crossed his face. She thinks she's outsmarting us all. Playing Ethan, orchestrating a takeover. She has no idea she's exactly where we need her to be. My phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. Where are you? We need to talk. Now. Does he know? I asked Jonathan. About the cancer? No one does, except Rebecca. He touched my arm gently. And now you. Why tell me? Because you have a choice to make. He handed me the folder. These documents prove everything. What you do with them will determine the future of this family. Another text from Ethan. Dad's missing, Mom's worried, call me back. You're asking me to help destroy an innocent woman to save your guilty son. I'm asking you to understand that justice isn't always clean. Jonathan stood slowly, his movements careful. Sometimes protecting the people we love means becoming someone we never thought we'd be. My phone rang. Mia this time. I silenced it. What if I go public with everything? The affair, the fraud, all of it. Then Turner Technologies falls. Thousands lose their jobs. The family name becomes worthless. He started walking away, then paused. And Ethan goes to prison anyway. The evidence against him is overwhelming. You planned this whole thing, I realized. Meeting Sophia, bringing her into the company. You needed someone to take the fall. He didn't deny it. The question isn't what I did, Kylie. It's what you'll do now. After he left, I sat alone among the orchids, holding a folder that could destroy everything. My phone kept buzzing. Ethan, Mia, Rebecca, even Liam now. A final text came through from Sophia. Whatever Jonathan told you is a lie. Meet me. I can prove it. I opened the folder, reading documents that showed years of systematic fraud. Jonathan's signature everywhere, protecting Ethan like he always had, like any father would. But there, in the margins of one document, was a detail Jonathan hadn't mentioned. A single name that changed everything. Mark Turner, my father. His signature, right next to Jonathan's, on documents dated years before I'd even met Ethan. The orchids suddenly felt suffocating, their perfect beauty a mockery. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through my contacts until I found the number I needed. Liam, I need you to look into something else. My father's connection to Turner Technologies. I paused, watching a rare black orchid sway in the artificial breeze. And clear your schedule. This just got a lot more complicated. Sometimes the real betrayal isn't the one you're looking for. It's the one that's been there all along, hiding in plain sight, waiting for the perfect moment to bloom. The lock on my office door had been changed, my keycard deactivated. Even my company email returned error messages. Mrs. Turner's security clearance has been revoked. The guard explained, not meeting my eyes. Direct orders from Mr. Turner. I stood in the lobby of Turner Technologies, watching employees hurry past, their gazes carefully averted. Just yesterday, I'd been one of them. Now I was a stranger in my own workplace. My phone buzzed. Another email from a client canceling their contract, the third one today. Someone had been busy spreading rumors about my mental instability and unprofessional conduct. Need a ride? Liam appeared beside me, casual as if he'd been there all along. I need more than that. I handed him my phone, opened to the latest message from my father. He's not returning my calls. Mom says he's dealing with some business matters. Liam scanned the message. Your father's bank records came in. Regular deposits from an offshore account starting 15 years ago. Same account that's linked to the Turner Technologies fraud. The marble floor seemed to tilt beneath my feet. He was part of it from the beginning. There's more. Liam hesitated. Your marriage to Ethan? The chance meeting at that charity gala? It was arranged. Your father orchestrated the whole thing. A laugh bubbled up, harsh, unfamiliar. So I'm what? The sacrificial lamb? Insurance against investigation? Your leverage. Sophia's voice cut through the lobby. She stood by the elevators, perfectly poised in designer white, though not the kind they intended. Security moved toward her, but she held up a hand. It's fine. Mrs. Turner and I are just having a friendly chat. Nothing about this is friendly, I said, but followed her to a quiet corner. Liam kept his distance, watching. They're going to pin everything on me, Sophia said quietly. The fraud, the takeover attempt, all of it, unless we stop them. Why should I believe you? Because unlike everyone else in your life, I have no reason to lie. She pulled out her phone, showed me an email chain. Your father arranged your marriage because the Turners were threatening to expose him. You were his protection. Now you're their insurance. My hands clenched. And Ethan? Was he part of this plan? Ethan? She smiled sadly. Ethan's just like you. Another pawn in their game, though he figured it out sooner. The elevator dinged. Ethan stepped out, freezing when he saw us. The bruise-like circles under his eyes matched mine. Kylie. He started forward, then stopped as Liam moved closer. Please, just let me explain. Explain what? My voice carried across the lobby. How our entire marriage was a business transaction? How you slept with Sophia to, what, rebel against Daddy's plans? I loved you, he said quietly. That part was real. Nothing about this is real. I turned to leave, but Sophia caught my arm. The company gala is tomorrow night, she whispered. Jonathan plans to announce his retirement, name Ethan as CEO, and subtly implicate me in everything. Once that happens, it's over. For all of us. My phone buzzed again. A message from Rebecca. We need to talk. About your father. About everything. Why are you telling me this? I asked Sophia. Because I'm tired of being a pawn too. She released my arm. The question is, are you ready to be a queen instead? I looked at Ethan, still standing frozen by the elevators. At Liam, watching everything with calculated interest. At the employees pretending not to stare, wondering which side of history they should choose. The gala, I said finally. What exactly are you proposing? Sophia smiled, not her usual practice smile, but something sharper. They want to play happy families? Let's give them a reunion they'll never forget. My phone buzzed one final time. My father. Whatever they're telling you, don't listen. Remember whose daughter you are. That was the problem, wasn't it? I was exactly my father's daughter. And tomorrow night, they'd all learn what that really meant. I'll need access to certain files, I told Sophia, and a guarantee that when this is over, everyone pays, not just your chosen scapegoats. Everyone, she agreed, including your father. I nodded, feeling something cold and certain settle in my chest. Then let's give them what they want. One last perfect family gathering. After all, what's a party without a few surprises? The gala invitation felt heavy in my hands, embossed letters catching the light. Turner Technologies celebrates excellence, as if excellence included fraud, betrayal, and carefully orchestrated marriages. I adjusted my black dress in the mirror, noticing how different I looked. Harder, colder, more like Rebecca than I'd ever wanted to be. Everything's in place, Liam said through my earpiece. Thumb drives loaded with the evidence. Just needs to be connected to their presentation system. And my father? Arrived 10 minutes ago. He's with Jonathan Turner in the private lounge. Of course he was. Conspirators to the end. The St. Regis ballroom glittered with wealth and pretense. Sophia stood near the stage in deep red, playing her part perfectly. Ethan worked the crowd, his smile never reaching his eyes. Rebecca held court by the champagne fountain, probably already planning damage control. Kylie. My father appeared beside me, his familiar cologne now sickeningly sweet. We need to talk. About what? The arranged marriage? The fraud? Or how about those offshore accounts? Listen to me very carefully. His voice dropped low, urgent. Whatever you're planning tonight, don't. You have no idea what you're really involved in. I know enough. No, you don't. He gripped my arm, hard enough to bruise. This goes beyond the company, beyond the Turners. There are people who will make sure you never... Mark. Jonathan Turner's voice cut through the tension. I believe your wife is looking for you. My father released me, straightening his tie. Think about what I said, sweetheart. Please. I watched him disappear into the crowd, rubbing my arm where his fingers had left marks. 10 minutes until the announcement, Liam said in my ear. I moved toward the tech booth, champagne glass in hand, playing the part of the dutiful wife. Almost there. Going somewhere? Rebecca blocked my path, steel beneath her smile. The family's sitting up front for the announcement. Together. Of course. I matched her tone. Wouldn't want to break tradition. She guided me to the reserved table, keeping a perfectly manicured hand on my shoulder. Ethan sat to my left, Sophia across from us. A tableau of family unity, ready for the cameras. Jonathan took the stage, looking frail but determined. Tonight marks a new chapter for Turner Technologies. Now, Kylie, Liam urged, before the announcement. I started to rise, but Ethan's hand found mine under the table. Don't, he whispered. Why not? Afraid of the truth? Afraid for you. His grip tightened. They killed someone over this, Kylie, 10 years ago, a whistleblower. The room seemed to tilt. What? Why do you think I played along? Why do you think your father arranged this marriage? It wasn't just about money. On stage, Jonathan was building to his big moment. Rebecca's hand remained on my shoulder, a warning disguised as affection. Your mother's accident last year? Ethan's voice barely a whisper now. It wasn't an accident. The champagne turned to acid in my stomach. The car crash that had put my mother in physical therapy for months. The brake failure that everyone called a miracle because she survived. 3 minutes, Liam said, oblivious to the revelation. It's now or never. I looked at Sophia, saw the same knowledge in her eyes. This wasn't just about corporate fraud anymore. This was about murder, about my mother, about how far they'd go to keep their secrets. And now, Jonathan announced, I'm proud to present the future of Turner Technologies. The thumb drive felt like it was burning through my clutch. One move and I could expose everything. But at what cost? Make your choice, Sophia mouthed silently. Rebecca's grip tightened. My father watched from across the room, fear evident in his stance. Ethan's hand trembled in mine. The spotlight swept over our table, highlighting the perfect family picture we presented. In that moment, I realized why revenge stories never end well. Because sometimes the truth doesn't set you free. Sometimes it just shows you how deep the darkness really goes. I reached for my champagne glass with steady hands, raised it in a toast to Jonathan on stage, and made my decision. After all, the best revenge isn't served at a party. It's served one piece at a time, when they least expect it. And I could be very, very patient. 3 weeks after the gala, I walked into Turner Technologies carrying nothing but a USB drive and 15 years of buried secrets. The security guard nodded me through, my clearance mysteriously restored yesterday after an administrative error. The boardroom was already full. Jonathan Turner sat at the head, looking more ghost than CEO. Ethan and Rebecca flanked him like royal guards. My father occupied his usual seat, fingers drumming an anxious rhythm on the mahogany table. Sophia's chair remained conspicuously empty. Mrs. Turner? Jonathan gestured to the vacant seat. Thank you for accepting our invitation. I remained standing. Interesting timing, right after Sophia's unfortunate accident. The room temperature seemed to drop. Sophia's car crash had made headlines, brake failure just like my mother's. Except Sophia hadn't survived. A tragedy, Rebecca murmured. We're all devastated. Are we? I connected my drive to the presentation system. Because I have proof that someone accessed Sophia's car's computer system remotely, the same way they did with my mother's car last year. Ethan's head snapped up. My father's drumming stopped. Careful, Kylie. Jonathan's voice carried a warning. Grief can make us imagine things. Nothing imaginary about this. The screen filled with code, the same signature in both accidents. Or about the whistleblower's death 10 years ago, or the offshore accounts, or my arranged marriage. That's enough. Rebecca stood, reaching for the remote. Sit down, Rebecca. The command came from Ethan, surprising everyone. Let her finish. I pulled up more documents, years of evidence Sophia had helped me compile before they killed her. You were right about one thing. I didn't understand what I was involved in. But Sophia did. She left me everything. Sophia was unstable, my father interjected. Her evidence wouldn't hold up in court. I smiled. It already has. The SEC received everything this morning. So did the FBI, and every major news outlet in the country. The boardroom erupted. Rebecca lunged for the presentation controls. My father started shouting about family loyalty. Jonathan remained eerily still, watching me with something like respect. You've destroyed us all, Rebecca hissed. No. I finally sat down, directly across from Ethan. You did that yourselves. I'm just making sure everyone pays the right price. Including me? Ethan asked quietly. Especially you. I met his gaze. You knew about my mother's accident. You could have warned me. I tried. Not hard enough. Jonathan's laugh cut through the chaos, a harsh, rattling sound. Well played, Kylie, but you've overlooked one detail. He pressed a button under the table. We still control the narrative. Security flooded the room. Not Turner Technologies security. Private contractors with cold eyes and concealed weapons. The same team that handled Sophia? I asked, keeping my voice steady. Among others. Jonathan stood slowly. Your evidence will be tragically lost in a server fire, and you'll be remembered as another unstable whistleblower who couldn't handle the pressure. Check your phones, I said. One by one, they did. Their faces drained of color as they saw the live stream, everything being broadcast directly from the boardroom. Liam's parting gift, hidden cameras capturing every threat, every admission. 2 million viewers and counting, I noted. Still think you control the narrative? The private security team's radios crackled. FBI in the lobby, SWAT teams surrounding the building. It's over, I told Jonathan. The only question is whether you'll face justice or try to escape it like Sophia. Rebecca crumpled into her chair. My father buried his face in his hands. But Ethan started laughing. You magnificent bitch, he said, admiration clear in his voice. You played us all. I learned from the best. I stood as federal agents entered the room. Family tradition, right? Jonathan Turner, architect of so much pain, finally looked his age. You truly are your father's daughter. No, I corrected him, watching handcuffs close around wrists that had once held so much power. I'm my mother's daughter, and she taught me that justice always comes due. The aftermath would be messy. Headlines, trials, the dismantling of an empire built on blood and lies. But watching them led away, I felt no satisfaction, no triumph, only a quiet certainty that some debts can only be paid in full. The courtroom emptied slowly, leaving me alone with the ghosts of everything that had happened. Jonathan Turner's cancer had claimed him before justice could, but Rebecca and my father would serve their sentences. Ethan had taken a plea deal, trading testimony for leniency. I traced my fingers over the polished wood of the witness stand where I'd spent the last 3 days testifying. The truth had poured out of me like poison from a wound. Every betrayal, every lie, every calculated move in their perfect game. Ready to go? Mia appeared in the doorway, keys jingling in her hand. Almost. I gathered my things, pausing at the evidence table where photos still lay scattered, frozen moments of a life I'd thought was real. My wedding day, family dinners, corporate galas where we'd all smiled while plotting against each other. The press is waiting outside, she warned. Let them wait. The click of expensive heels announced another presence. Rebecca Turner, allowed one final conversation before being taken to serve her sentence. I underestimated you, she said simply. You underestimated everyone. That was your mistake. She nodded, perfectly coiffed even in defeat. Jonathan wanted you to have this. She placed an envelope on the table. He wrote it before. I don't want anything from him. It's not what you think. She straightened her designer jacket, her last act of dignity before prison. Sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destroying your enemies, it's understanding them. She left without another word, head high until the end. The envelope felt heavy in my hands. Inside was a single photograph, Jonathan and my father as young men, standing in front of a startup company's logo. Their company before Turner Technologies existed, before greed and power had corrupted everything they touched. My phone buzzed. Ethan. I meant what I said, about loving you. I deleted the message without responding. some lies we choose to believe, and some truths we choose to forget. Your mother's waiting, Mia reminded me gently. Mom had recovered fully from her accident, stronger now that she knew the truth. She divorced my father the day after his arrest, reclaiming her maiden name and her independence. Outside the courthouse, reporters surged forward with questions about justice, revenge, family loyalty. I pushed past them toward my mother's waiting car, but stopped at the sight of Liam standing by his vehicle. One last piece of evidence came in, he said, holding out a final USB drive. About Sophia's death. Turns out she knew it was coming. Left instructions about what to do with her shares in the company. Let me guess, she left them to me? He nodded. Controlling interest. The board's waiting for your decision about the company's future. I took the drive, feeling its weight, not just data, but responsibility, power, the very things that had corrupted the Turners. You know what the difference is between justice and revenge? I asked him. What's that? Justice changes things. Revenge just continues the cycle. I dropped the drive into the fountain outside the courthouse, watching it sink to the bottom. The reporters' cameras clicked frantically, capturing the moment Turner Technologies' fate changed forever. What now? Mia asked as we reached my mother's car. I looked back at the courthouse one last time. Rebecca being led away in handcuffs. Ethan standing alone, watching me through the crowd. The empire of lies crumbling behind them. Now we build something new, I said. Something honest. Mom squeezed my hand as I slid into the passenger seat. She'd taught me that strength isn't about revenge or power. It's about choosing when to fight and when to let go. The reporters would write their stories. The courts would handle the rest. But as we drove away from the ruins of the Turner legacy, I realized some victories don't need headlines. Sometimes they just need silence and the courage to write your own ending. Even if that ending isn't perfect. Even if some questions remain unanswered. Even if some ghosts refuse to rest.